When you choose Optimum Business Secure Fiber Internet, built-in security helps protect your transactions from serious threats. So business stays open. Get business first fibers starting at $65 a month. Powered by fiber. Optimum Business.
Selling all the places with Shopify. Online, in person, across social, and drive every cha-ching. All in one place. When it's time to sell everywhere, it's time for Shopify. Start your free trial today.
In case of busted taillights. Plus size, you talk to a AAA agent on auto and home insurance. obtaining an admission of guilt, but bringing the criminal to justice is what we pursue in this line of work. Elron pleads guilty to 2 counts of second-degree murder and describes how it went. Elron agrees to go home with Eldon after the older man offers him money for oral sex. Back at the boarding house, Elron meets Marilyn Beersmith. After a drinking binge that goes on for several days, Elron grows angry with Eldon.
He simply didn't like Eldon to sort of just talk about money and, I want this, I want that, so he just thought, I'll kill this guy, I'll just stop.
He stabs Eldon in the back, but it is not a fatal. Eldon turns around to defend himself, and there's a tremendous struggle. Delaware stabs the victim another 40 times.
Afterwards, he suddenly remembers Marilyn was upstairs. Elron decides that he has to get rid of the evidence to make sure that everybody is dead. He says, I just couldn't put it out. Elron goes upstairs and tells Marilyn that Eldon needs help. As she walks downstairs, he stabs her in the back, then drags her back into her room.
Delaware rapes Marilyn, stabs her more than 13 times, and slits her throat.
He denies that he posed her to look like a photo in a men's magazine. After hearing his confession, the judge sentences Lloyd James Delron to life in prison without the possibility of parole for 15 years. Delron was born as a teenager in Saskatchewan, and throughout his childhood is bounced around living with relatives. By the age of 15, he makes his way to Vancouver and drifts into prostitution. His troubled past no doubt leads to the death of fellow Saskatchewan resident Marilyn Beersmith, as well as Eldon Jacobs. Thankfully, hard-working detectives like Nico bring justice to the victims of such horrible crimes, and it doesn't go unnoticed.
I've gone through my life and identified himself as understanding the principal person who was responsible for arresting and convicting this guy. So just say, I just want to thank you, cousin or whatever of the family, and I appreciate it.
The murders of Eldon Jacobs and Marilyn Beersmith are unsolved for 20 years. And if it wasn't for the hard work of investigators, like all those prior and including Sergeant Wayne Coe, it might still be unsolved. This is a band that was very well known in the community. It raises funds and good and donating to charity. Very well known.
And each suspect has an airtight alibi.
Lies upon lies upon lies, and not enough evidence to make a murder charge stick.
Takes old-fashioned detective work to resurrect a 15-year-old case and to track down a killer.
You have to say.
And approach these cases in a way outside the box.
There's those out there that think that there are people that are coming after you. Usually they're not looking to try to do the right thing.
Because it's something that you have to be passionate about.
Bring some peace to the family at least. Just do a great job.
December 15th, 1994. 24-year-old Devin McLaughlin hears the sound of gunshots at his home. Young Kevin McLaughlin makes a gruesome discovery in the kitchen of the Newport Beach, California home he shares with his father.
Kevin has an injury that greatly affects his speech. So when he calls me, the operator has a terrible time understanding him.
As the operator tries to understand what's going on, police units rush to the scene. When police arrive, they discover 55-year-old Bill McLaughlin, shot 6 times in the chest, and his grieving son. In the heart of Orange County, Newport Beach, California, boasts one of the highest average home prices in all of America. The McLaughlin home is in an exclusive gated community called Balboa Coves.
The first thing you notice in Balboa Coves is these are beautiful homes with water and beach. They're large homes with docks. So this is kind of the elite of the elite as far as wealth goes.
Newport Beach is home to superstar athletes, Hollywood celebrities, and billionaire entrepreneurs.
Newport Beach is essentially everything it's been seen. It's not unusual to see the Canyon surf partners or on a bike waiting at a red light next to a 200,000 building. It's sort of the quintessential thing that a lot of people think of when they think of California. Surfing, money, people in bikinis, that sort of thing.
Newport Beach is also home to the famous annual Christmas Boat Parade, which takes place a stone's throw from the McLaughlin house.
emerging into the city with, again, it meets this woman. Kind of at the time they start seeing each other, Kevin had his accident where he was struck by the drunk driver and suffered pretty severe brain damage. A few weeks after their first date, Nanette and her kids moved into Bill's house. So Nanette thought of a particularly volatile time. She sort of helicoptered in to take care of Kevin's medical needs and drive him around.
The McLaughlin household is a balance of relationships and needs, but it's not as balanced as it seems. Police also wonder if someone from Bill's professional life might have wanted him dead.
Bill McLaughlin was an inventor. He's in the pharmaceutical industry. He invented a centrifuge that separates plasma from blood, so he actually contributed to modern medical science in a huge way.
With the medical patents came wealth for Bill and his family, but Bill McLaughlin began his life with modest means. Bill grows up on the south side of Chicago. He's the first one in his family to graduate from college, getting his degree in biochemistry.
It has to be very gratifying to be a self-made man, but to have that kind of motivation means that maybe sometimes you're okay stepping on a few toes.
While in his early 30s, Bill patents a needle used in dialysis that allows for blood to flow in both directions through a single needle.
Friends say Bill earned his first million by selling this invention to a medical supply company and reinvested into his own company that develops medical devices.
Bill McLaughlin's personal fortune goes from nearly nothing to an estimated net worth of $55 million over the course of 2 decades.
It appears that Bill McLaughlin owns 2 houses, one in the Newport Beach waterfront area. He owns an airplane and a place in Las Vegas that he uses to establish residency for tax purposes.
In addition to the breakup of his marriage, Bill McLaughlin was also coming out of a messy breakup with a business partner.
Bill had just hit sort of hit stages of a pretty contentious litigation with a former business partner. The litigation was over millions and millions of dollars pretty quickly. Bill McLaughlin has a business partner, Al Fishel. They had just completed a heated courtroom battle, which Bill had won to the tune of $9 million. Al Fishel becomes a potential suspect in Bill's murder.
Could the bad blood between Bill and his business partner be the reason for his murder? Or could the murderer have been inside the house all along? What should be a clear-cut homicide case instead just leads detectives to more questions.
Police on the scene test Kevin's hands for evidence of gunshot residue, and it comes back clean. They're certain that he did not use a firearm that night. Meanwhile, witnesses place Fishel 150 miles north of Santa Barbara, where he spent the entire night.
3 suspects, each have airtight alibis.
This is a man that was very well known in the community, raised his family, was a good man, donated a lot to charity. He's very well known.
But one piece of evidence that police find on the scene narrows down the suspect list.
Whoever shot Bill McLaughlin kept a brand new key stuck in a lock on the front door. For detectives, that key unlocks more than just the front door.
When your eyes are off, you are rubbish. A bit as if you were giving 59
days leading up to the murder, they conduct a stakeout at the beach house where Nanette is staying with her children.
Police report they observe her through the beach house window as she decorates a Christmas tree with her kids. Making sure your children enjoy Christmas isn't a crime.
Police have enough to charge Nanette with embezzlement, but the detective work unlocks a whole new dimension of the case.
Nanette isn't only using this money for herself and her children. She's just returned from a trip to Jamaica with her boyfriend.
It seems Nanette had more than one relationship on film.
Nanette was very active in her dating life as a woman, and so she met her boyfriend for 4 years now. But when she realized that he wasn't actually going to marry her, she had a ring, but they never set a date.
Nanette sees Eric Nedlowski, an athletic young man who works in security, for several months in 1994.
Break down the timing of her theft, and you compare it most phenomenally to her relationship with Bosky. It's like you can see, like, $10,000 she got away with that, 25,000 take a hotel room that she goes to Jamaica with Bosky, $100,000.
And that's emotional easy. Not in that are the caregiving arrangements she had with Bill. This may be a consensual situation if she was able to book trips with Eric right under Bill's nose.
After many months of being engaged, Nanette doesn't believe Bill will marry her.
The problem for Nanette is that she realized that what Bill had of a second he wasn't married, so that makes her a girlfriend, but she couldn't stand it, and you can go a long way with being a pal boyfriends.
As the investigation continues, a man who identifies himself only as Robert claims that Nanette and Eric met him a month before the murder and offered to invest $100,000 or more in his software company.
So, before the murder, she's going to invest $100,000 in the software company to be buying a $900,000 home, a so-called college degree. She has nothing without both. So, Bill had a clue.
Eric Nedlowski plays briefly as a linebacker for the New England Patriots and Indianapolis Colts of the NFL, as well as a stint in Europe. In 1994, he worked as a bouncer at a nightclub as the football field away from the clubhouse.
Police bring Eric Nowoski in for questioning, believing strongly that he and Nanette could have conspired to murder McLaughlin for money. So what does she know that nobody else did? In November or early December of 1994, Bill McLaughlin was killed on December 15th. So she knows she's going to have money. She's having one source of that, and that's the death of Bill.
But when police interview Eric Nedlowski, he's blindsided by the news that his girlfriend, Nanette Johnston, was already engaged to the man she says was her business mentor.
Eric's story is that Nanette repeatedly lied to him about her relationship with Bill McLaughlin. Eric also provided an alibi for the night of December 15th, 1994. He claims to have been with Nanette at her kids' soccer game before going to work at the nightclub.
Detectives focus their investigation on their prime suspects, Eric Nedlowski and Nanette Johnston.
She was cheating on Bill, and she was stealing from Bill, using more websites pretty soon, and kick her to the curb.
Police wonder if Bill McLaughlin had made a fatal discovery before meeting with the intruder who shot him.
There simply isn't enough evidence to charge anyone with McLaughlin's murder. Police keep on working, knowing that as time progresses, the odds of getting a conviction are slimmer and slimmer.
Despite there being plenty of reason for suspicion, there's just not enough for an
So, It's the same ammunition, but it's a little bit rarer. Lies upon lies upon lies. There isn't enough to lay a murder charge on instead.
Without any new evidence, the case goes cold. Skelenton believes his fiancée and her boyfriend are getting away with murder.
Comes to feeling there was a special accusers that kind of this one is a devastating fact.
The question still remains, who knows who did this? We are responsible, at the very least, for the sake of Bill's kids.
They suspect that they may have murdered their dad and they just couldn't live with it.
Investigators have strong suspicions. The truth of what actually may have happened into who actually killed him, well, might never be known.
Airwick's potential Vista user is conveniently called a scammer for the type of person who's always putting friends down. Just told and a wide range of sins. Airwick essentially is like an obvious every time you go, so you're always ready for anyone new. Now available for models like Airwick, always brighter than the touch. I also do orders in this case that will only get to She's the kid, breathing to me shifts, secure abductal brain. She's the kid.
I have no idea what that means.
Sometimes ups and downs.
It's an action.
Yeah, some crowds together.
But it could have been multitasks at the same time.
God bless your electronics. You're so funny. Anytime on demand, TV,
California community is mourned by murder. The newborn George Billionaire is shot to death in his own home. His fiancée, Annette Johnston, and her boyfriend, Eric Kowalski, are suspected, but there isn't enough evidence to take them to court. Despite investigators having strong suspicions, the case goes cold. County prosecutor Matt Murphy reopens the case files 15 years later.
So it does what this was one of the really good chance of solving 15 years ago.
Matt Murphy and investigators reopen the case in the hopes of finally getting a conviction. The files are re-examined for anything that could help, any detail that might have been overlooked or have more relevance looking back.
What it takes for a cold case detective to not stop thinking about it anymore. That's where I'm sleeping. I wake up and that constant mining of facts. It's like, no, that's where it's coming from. That can make a huge difference. That's what I do.
Detectives think critically about the surveillance reports from the days leading up to Bill and Evelyn's funeral when Annette moved their children to the beach house not far from Belmont House.
And that was actually out. And two narcotics officers sitting in the sand watching the beach house where she was sitting. And the police report just said, we observed the suspect decorating a Christmas tree. And a couple of police officers here in California, they interrogate, they look like murderers. Right on sand outside looking down the cheap windows. That's because she killed. You can see her two children inside the house. So on its face, that means nothing. But checked the third dimension of actual murder thinking about if she was innocent,
Police also convinced Derek Pawlowski's former neighbor, Susan Kogar, to come forward with stories she was told in the area.
Susan Kogar was a esoteric member of the Pawlowski Church. I accepted and explained how it worked and how being charged together were suspicious groups that told sorts of information to one of them. And then she came forward and provided some incredibly valuable evidence for the story.
Suzanne Kogar gives detectives several pieces of information that are damning against Derek Pawlowski. Pawlowski tells Suzanne that his girlfriend's boss is making sexual advances against her.
Eric knows that the conflict has a plan. He has this to fly back and forth mostly in Las Vegas. Pawlowski tells Susan Kogar that he is going to have the flat blown up that he is out.
Pawlowski owns, and the key stuck in the door of McLaughlin's house was copied in a hardware store in their neighborhood.
Suzanne says to Eric, I didn't even want you to believe I did it. Eric says, maybe I did, maybe I didn't, and maybe I had something to do with it.
Suzanne Kogar tells police that Eric shares information that only the police and the killer would know. At the same time, police become much more definitive of the type of murder weapon used to shoot Bill McLaughlin 6 times in the chest.
So, we hear about DNA attaching to the